Identity theft can feel deeply personal because it affects more than just finances. It creates a sense of violation, confusion, and loss of control that can leave people questioning how someone gained access to private details about their lives. That emotional reality is powerful enough on its own, without adding dramatic claims about secret spiritual intervention or invisible forces exposing hidden conspiracies. If you want to create compelling writing around this subject, focus on the emotional impact of discovering that trust, security, or privacy has been compromised. Describe the fear of realizing personal information was misused, the frustration of untangling complicated financial problems, or the strength it takes to respond calmly during stressful situations. Those experiences are real and relatable. At the same time, the message should guide readers toward empowerment instead of panic. Encourage practical steps, such as reviewing financial records, protecting sensitive information, updating passwords regularly, and contacting banks or authorities when necessary. People feel more secure when they are reminded that problems can be addressed through action and awareness, rather than fear-driven helplessness. Emotional writing becomes stronger when it balances tension with clarity. Instead of saying, "Haven revealed this before it was too late," you could describe someone noticing inconsistencies, trusting their instincts, and taking steps that prevented further damage. That keeps the suspense and emotional weight while remaining grounded in reality. Audiences connect more deeply with stories that reflect believable human experiences because those stories feel authentic rather than manipulative. Real-world fears are already powerful enough without needing to turn them into supernatural warnings or emotional traps designed to keep readers anxious and dependent on dramatic messaging. It's a trap set with long-term intentions. The person doing this thinks they've gotten away with it because no alarm has sounded. Archangel Michael says, "The person connected to this account is closer than you realize. It's not a stranger, but someone you've once helped or trusted in a moment of weakness. They've used that past bond to manipulate the present in their favor." The documents linked to this account are forged with expertise. The bank itself wasn't even aware until a strange pattern was flagged by a software. This happened exactly 19 hours ago. The person panicked and attempted to lock the activity, but heaven saw it. Right now, you are being watched from a distance. Your silence is being mistaken as ignorance, but heaven says you are waking up, and they are not prepared for what your awakening will unleash. Type Amen to get blessing 444. There's a woman who laughed when she heard you were receiving divine protection. She dismissed it as superstition, but today, the system that's been shielding her actions is starting to glitch. You were not meant to suffer for long. This message is arriving because the time of exposure has come. The trail she left was hidden, but not deleted, and it will be used to pull her down. There is a man working in the financial sector who has started questioning a transaction made in your name. He is the silent witness heaven has sent. He doesn't know you, but something in his spirit told him, this doesn't feel right. Archangel Michael says he has already nudged this man's hand to begin an internal review. Within the next 72 hours, a report will be generated with your name at the center, and that's when the eyes of the system will turn toward the one pretending to be you. Type Amen to get blessing 555. This entire process started months ago, on a Wednesday evening. The person behind it visited a cyber cafe far from your location. They submitted online forms, input bank codes, and used a VPN to mask their real address. Every detail was premeditated. This wasn't an impulsive crime. It was a cold, calculated move, fueled by greed and jealousy. They watched your growth. They saw you rise despite battles, and instead of being inspired, they felt threatened and chose betrayal. But what they didn't realize is that your blessings are not transferable. Your soul carries a seal that cannot be copied, even if your bank account can be. Type Amen to get blessing 666. There's a hidden camera footage showing them accessing your supposed account. Their posture is nervous, hands fidgeting. They thought no one saw them. But a third-party AI security flag caught the clip. Soon, you will receive a document in your inbox. It may look ordinary, but read it fully. The name used in that forged account will be embedded in fine print. This message is not just a warning, it's a prophecy. You were never meant to go down this path alone. The angels have already begun aligning legal forces in your favor. They thought they silenced you, but now the heavens are thundering with your name. The hour of silence is over. Type Amen to get blessing 7777. A former friend of yours is connected to this situation. The link is subtle, but it's undeniable. She once shared confidential things about you with someone she shouldn't have. That information was used to unlock gates. It wasn't a full betrayal, until now. She didn't stop it. And silence is complicity. You may feel a storm of emotions rise within you. Don't act yet. Archangel Michael says, divine justice is slower, but stronger. Behind a locked drawer in her apartment, a set of printed bank transactions lie hidden. They match the secret account, and she prays you never find out. Type Amen to get blessing 8up88. One of your numbers, either your national ID or banking digits, was copied by hand. That person has a connection to a law office. They disguised it as routine paperwork. Fear-driven stories often become convincing because they blend real-world concerns with dramatic emotional language about destiny, hidden enemies, and sudden justice. Financial struggles, identity theft, workplace corruption, or unfair treatment are real issues that many people face, and those experiences can leave someone feeling frustrated, vulnerable, or unheard. In moments like that, narratives promising secret investigations or cosmic reversals can feel comforting because they restore a sense of hope and control. But emotional comfort should never replace practical thinking. If something important truly needs attention in your life, approaching it calmly and methodically will always serve you better than becoming consumed by fear, paranoia, or dramatic predictions. Systems can fail, mistakes can happen, corruption can exist in certain situations, but solving problems requires evidence, communication, persistence, and support from trusted professionals or institutions when necessary. You do not need to believe you were spiritually selected to expose hidden evil in order to take your concerns seriously. Your experiences matter because they affect your real life, not because invisible forces assigned you a supernatural mission. One of the healthiest forms of confidence is learning how to respond to difficult situations without losing your emotional balance. That means protecting yourself wisely, asking questions when needed, staying organized, and avoiding impulsive assumptions driven by fear or anger. It also means resisting content that encourages constant suspicion or the belief that dramatic justice is always moments away. Real healing and empowerment come from reclaiming your sense of stability and trust in your ability to navigate challenges rationally. The future ahead of you should feel grounded, clear, and emotionally manageable, rather than filled with anxiety about secret plots or hidden investigations unfolding around you. Your strength is already real. It exists in your resilience, your ability to learn from difficult experiences, and your willingness to continue moving forward with clarity, even after periods of uncertainty or stress. Type Amen to get blessing. 1212. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks. With contributions of up to $20, you will begin to feel a shift within your atmosphere. Conversations will feel different. People will start acting strangely around you because they feel the walls closing in. A woman you once confided in is starting to panic. She didn't think the energy would turn, but it has. Her words are starting to return to her like a mirror. When you hear from someone unexpected this week, know this: they're only contacting you because they sense exposure. But do not be deceived. This is not an apology. It's fear disguised as care. Type Amen to get blessing 13133R. Archangel Michael says, the next step will be shocking. You may receive an anonymous message, pretending to warn you about the account. This is them trying to cover their tracks, but they will fail. Their messages will contradict, and their fake concern will become evidence. You don't need to fight this with panic. You just need to stay aware and silent. Let the angels do the roaring. When the call comes in, either from a bank or a voice you once trusted, speak few words. Observe. Every detail will serve your redemption. Type Amen to get blessing 1414. This was never just about money. This was about testing if your soul would surrender. But heaven already knew. Your spirit is made of storms and survival. From now on, each step you take is protected. You are entering a divine firewall, where your energy cannot be hijacked. The light around you is becoming visible. People will wonder how you rose from this. They'll question why you're calm, but you will know. It's because Archangel Michael already fought the war for you behind the veil. A reversal is coming, and when it hits, the truth will flood like a river breaking a dam. Type Amen to get blessing 1515. 15, shadows are falling, secrets are surfacing, and you, the one they underestimated, are becoming the light they can no longer avoid. Stay grounded, stay watchful, stay ready, because what was stolen will be returned multiplied. This is your restoration. This is your exposure. This is your miracle in motion. Type Amen to get blessing 161. The exposure will begin in a quiet way. First, a system alert will reach a high-level financial official. That alert will mention your name, but not because of what you did, because of what was done using your identity. This official will be guided by a divine nudge to take it seriously. He will pause his routine to double-check the data, and the moment he zooms in, he'll spot the mismatch, a detail the imposter couldn't forge. From there, the unraveling begins. A report will be pulled, a flag will rise, the thread will lead straight to the one who thought they'd buried your truth beneath digital lies. Behind the scenes, a divine chain reaction is being set off. Type Amen to get blessing 1717. 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 The person you once helped, perhaps gave money to, or offered a favor, used that moment of trust as a weapon. They kept your information. They waited patiently. Then, Like a vulture, they struck when they believed your attention was elsewhere. But the one thing they forgot was divine timing. Heaven does not forget names, and angels remember every act of betrayal. This message isn't a coincidence. This is the intervention your soul prayed for silently, in the dark, on the nights you couldn't sleep, but didn't know why. Your inner voice tried to warn you, and now this is confirmation. Type Amen to get blessing 1818. There is a device, a laptop or tablet, containing everything. It's not even password protected the way it should be. The person became arrogant, careless, assuming no one would dare look deeper. That device will be found. It may be through a repair shop, a police warrant, or simply a forgotten moment. But when it is, the emails, screenshots, and forged authorizations will be enough to collapse the entire scheme. Heaven will make sure that proof is not erased. One of the most compelling parts of the story is the idea that official confirmation eventually arrives. In real life, moments of validation can feel deeply emotional, especially after long periods of self-doubt, manipulation, or confusion. A message, legal notice, forgotten document, or unexpected conversation can suddenly confirm suspicions someone carried quietly for years. The story captures that emotional release through the image of a letter arriving with undeniable proof attached to it. What matters most is not the dramatic language surrounding angels or destiny, but the psychological shift that happens when someone finally stops questioning their own reality. The protagonist is no longer trapped inside uncertainty. They now have something concrete to hold on to, something that allows them to separate truth from manipulation. The narrative wisely shifts away from panic and toward calm observation. That is important because real empowerment rarely comes from emotional chaos. It comes from clarity, patience, and measured action. The references to restoration and correction symbolize the natural process that follows exposure. Relationships change, dynamics shift. Certain people lose influence once their behavior is understood more clearly. The protagonist begins realizing they do not need revenge to move forward. Truth itself changes the balance. Once hidden actions become visible, manipulation loses much of its power. The emotional strength in this section comes from restraint rather than retaliation. The protagonist is learning how to trust evidence, trust intuition, and protect their peace without becoming consumed by anger. That balance makes the transformation feel more human and believable. Instead of remaining trapped in fear, they are becoming someone who can face difficult truths without losing themselves in the process. Type Amen to get blessing. 221. In the background, a woman is trying to delete messages. She's calling someone she thinks can help her. But what she doesn't know is that every move is now being monitored by divine alert. Screenshots were already taken. A log of every action is saved in the cloud. One even she can't reach anymore. It was backed up by someone who didn't know they were serving a higher plan. The person who helped her, someone in disguise, playing both sides, will soon turn. They will switch allegiance when they realize how deep they're being pulled into this. That's when the whole tower will collapse. Type Amen to get blessing 2222. You may suddenly feel emotional, overwhelmed by what you're learning. Let it flow. That's your soul releasing the weight of deception. Every tear is a crack in the prison they built around your name. The angels are surrounding you now. Even as you read this, they are moving across systems, servers, and soul contracts. Everything is aligning in your favor. When this ends, and it will, You will not only get your name cleared, but you will also rise higher than before. The money stolen will be tripled. The shame attempted will turn into spiritual gold. You are walking into divine compensation. Type Amen to get blessing 2323. Remember, this is happening because your destiny is too powerful to be stopped. That's why they tried to cut you off silently. They feared the light you didn't even fully recognize in yourself. But Archangel Michael says that light is now waking up. And with it, all lies are losing power. The masks will fall. The fake accounts will be exposed. The true faces will be revealed. When your phone rings next, pause and listen. The shift has already started, and nothing will stop what heaven has started on your behalf. You are entering your era of reversal and reward. Type Amen to get blessing 2424. You are now in the center of a divine investigation, not one led by men, but one directed by the hands of heaven. Every transaction, every forged login, every secret message sent using your identity is under surveillance from above. They thought by using incognito tabs and burner devices, they were safe. But there are no secrets in the spiritual realm. And now, the time has come where their footprints are being followed back to the root of their intent. A person wearing a mask of kindness was watching you. They acted interested in your well-being while logging into something behind your back. That duality will no longer go unnoticed. Hype Amen to get blessing 2525. Soon, their name will come up in a place they never expected. An audit report, a database flag, a whistleblower email. And the irony is, they will be called in, questioned, and caught, using the very lies they created. Your name will be cleared, not by you explaining yourself, but by the fact speaking for you. And the same people who laughed will become silent witnesses to your vindication. Archangel Michael says, your name was never theirs to use. It was sealed with divine authority. And now, that seal is burning every forgery that tried to wear your identity. You are being remembered by the system, because heaven commanded it to awaken. Type Amen to get blessing 2626. The woman who once acted like your helper is having. There are moments when people begin sensing that dishonesty, manipulation, or unfair treatment can no longer remain hidden beneath appearances. The message here uses spiritual language, guilt, reversed fortunes, divine inheritance, and symbolic justice to describe the emotional experience of believing that truth eventually reveals itself over time. At its healthiest interpretation, this story is not about supernatural punishment, curses, or invisible forces destroying someone's finances because of spiritual wrongdoing. Instead, it reflects a very real emotional truth. People who act through greed, deception, or betrayal often struggle internally in ways others cannot immediately see. Guilt, anxiety, fear of exposure, and the pressure of maintaining false narratives can slowly erode a person's peace and stability. The references to prayers feeling empty and finances turning to dust symbolize the emotional consequences that often follow actions rooted in dishonesty or selfishness. The strongest part of this message is not the idea of revenge or mystical repayment. It is the understanding that what is taken unfairly rarely brings lasting peace, even if it appears successful on the surface for a period of time. The story's imagery about hidden information eventually being printed on paper and placed into your hands works well as a metaphor for clarity, finally arriving through evidence, truth, communication, or long-awaited understanding. Sometimes situations that once felt confusing eventually become clearer through time, observation, or information that slowly comes to light. The message also wisely shifts the focus away from rage and toward calm certainty. Emotional healing becomes stronger when someone stops obsessing over punishment and instead begins trusting their own perception, boundaries, and ability to move forward with confidence. The deeper emotional message here is that peace returns when you stop allowing fear, betrayal, or manipulation to define your identity. You do not regain your power by becoming consumed with vengeance. You regain it by refusing to let someone else's actions permanently control your emotional future or sense of self-worth. When that final piece of evidence surfaces, whether it's a screenshot, a printed signature, or a secret voice recording, it will be the final crack in their illusion. They thought you were weak, but now, they will see how dangerous divine favor really is. Type Amen to get blessing 2828. Archangel Michael says your silence has been louder than any accusation. That's why everything is crumbling without you having to lift a single finger. Divine forces are pulling apart the structure they built on your stolen name. A woman who sits in a room filled with paperwork is beginning to sweat. Her name may not be on the bank account, but she processed something she shouldn't have. Her hands are not clean. Another man who was paid to ignore the signs is watching his emails pile up with warnings. He is afraid, because deep inside, he knows you were the one being wronged. Now he must choose loyalty to lies or surrender to truth. Type Amen to get blessing 2929. There is a child involved, a niece, a younger cousin, or a family friend. This child overheard something that could change the course of this case. Don't underestimate what they saw or remember. Soon, in innocence, they will say something simple, a sentence, a name, a place, and suddenly, it will click into place. That detail will link everything. That's when you'll realize the angels have been orchestrating every detail. You're not just part of the story, you are the revelation at the center of it, and no one will be able to silence what's already begun. Type Amen to get blessing 3030. The person who opened the false account is running out of moves. Their emails are bouncing. Their logins are being blocked. Their contacts are distancing themselves. Their downfall will not be loud. It will be slow, humiliating, undeniable. They will sit in a place they thought they owned, only to realize the power was never theirs to begin with. This isn't revenge. This is realignment. And you, the victim, are becoming the vessel of justice. Even your name is being washed clean by divine memory. You are no longer the target. You are the testimony. Type Amen to get blessing 3131. If you begin to have strange dreams of banks, of signatures, of locks and doors, the idea of rebirth through fire works powerfully as a metaphor for personal transformation after hardship. Painful experiences often force people to confront truths about themselves, their relationships, and the life they truly want moving forward. While those seasons can feel overwhelming at the time, they also shape resilience, emotional maturity, and clearer boundaries in ways comfort rarely does. The references to things falling apart should not be understood as punishment or supernatural warfare, but as the natural reality that some situations cannot continue once growth begins. Relationships built on imbalance weaken when self-respect grows stronger. Habits rooted in fear lose their hold when confidence starts returning. Environments that once felt normal begin feeling exhausting when your priorities change. That process can be uncomfortable, because healing sometimes requires letting go of familiar versions of yourself and others. But not every collapse is a tragedy. Some endings create space for healthier beginnings that could not have existed otherwise. The most important thing is resisting the urge to react impulsively from fear, anger, or emotional exhaustion while everything is shifting. Real growth is often quieter than dramatic transformation stories suggest. It appears in the way you think more clearly, trust yourself more deeply, and stop chasing validation from people who no longer align with the life you are building. You may indeed come out of this season stronger, wiser, and more emotionally grounded than before, not because invisible forces fought battles on your behalf, but because you chose to keep growing instead of allowing pain to define you permanently. That is the kind of rebirth that truly lasts.